Siobhan, is there a time when you have just said, I need to take a break from photography? Like,
no, never. I've been burnt out in other areas of my life before, for sure. And I've never had it for photography. I think because I love it so much. If we're talking about new, like super new green makeup artists or photographers, I'm like, yeah, be nervous because you are responsible for these people's photos and like they're paying you money. So, but I feel like if it's someone who's 10 years into it, knows what they're doing and still has that feeling of like, oh God, they're gonna find out I'm a fraud. And it's like, it's more anxiety.
There are different aspects to it as well, I guess. Hello everybody and welcome to the third episode of Offset Energy.
Woo. We got mugs.
We have mugs to sign. Beautiful, aren't they? And my name is Sarah. I am here with photographer Dana Cole and Siobhan Beasley. And we have a lovely, juicy episode for you guys. We're gonna kick it off. How is everybody feeling?
I'm doing fine. It's been a busy week working and stuff. And yeah, so I am happy to see you girls.
Me too.
It hasn't been since our last episode. We do see each other pretty often, but it's been a few weeks. So yeah, so it's great to see you girls again.
Same. How about you? How are you?
Ditto. I think, I've got like a few different deadlines I'm working on. So it's nice to take a little break and have fun with the crew.
Yeah.
I bet. Should we just hop right into it?
I think we should.
Yes. Okay. So we have this thing called Google Forms. And if you follow us on Instagram, you can go in there and submit topics for us. And we had a lovely request from a Danish photographer, Anja Ekström. So she wanted us to talk about imposter syndrome.
Okay.
Yes. And I tried to Google to find a definition, and I found a really good one, which is that imposter syndrome is coined to describe the internal experience of doubting your abilities.
Yeah.
I thought that was a really good explanation and quick and easy for the people that maybe haven't heard of it before. And Stanford University, I guess.
Yeah.
Safe to assume that.
Safe to assume. Has an overview of the cycle of imposter syndrome. So I thought I was going to go through that. Maybe we can see if we can relate to the things in that cycle. So it starts with being presented with a new project or task, going into experiencing feelings of anxiety, procrastinating or over-preparing, and then completing the project and feeling a brief relief and sense of accomplishment. And 4, rationalizing success in negative ways. For instance, I was lucky, or I tricked people into thinking I can accomplish this. And then the last part is an increase in self-doubt, anxiety, and feeling like a fraud.
Okay.
You had an instant reaction to that. What are your thoughts and feelings?
I think it's just sad that because I'm fairly certain, and we can all confirm, I'm fairly certain that almost anybody in the creative fields goes through this all the time. It just made me sad to know that we're all like, I'm a fraud. I'm a fraud. Like, I got lucky and I luckily tricked my clients, but it just makes me feel sad that like we all experience that on some level a little bit.
Yeah, I would agree. And I feel like when you're starting out is when you feel it the most. So I remember being a new photographer, and anytime I would get a job, or even if it was like, I remember my first job that I ever got after I started taking just pictures of friends and family, and then I posted on MySpace. So I'm telling my age here, MySpace era girl photographer here. So
like last year?
Last year when I started. I started posting my work on MySpace, and just at that point I was just taking pictures of friends, my daughter, and family members and so forth. And I would post my work on there. And then a friend of a friend saw my MySpace page And they were like, "Oh, you're a photographer?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm starting out, yeah." And she was like, "Oh, well, how much do you charge for photos?" And at this point, I had no idea how to do that. I was like, at this point, I was just taking pictures of family.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not sure, but we can like go to a park and, if you just pay for my gas money, that's like $20 for my gas money. And that was like my first official, I guess, paid shoot since she handed me the $20. And she ended up loving the photos, of course, which was good. And, but I just remember when she mentioned price, and then when she agreed to my price, which was gas money, I was like, "Oh wow, well, but then that fear started setting in. Like, wait a minute, I'm getting paid for this now, so I have to really deliver, and I don't know if I can do this." And I faked my way through that entire shoot, thinking like, "Oh yeah, I'm a professional now," but am I really? No.
Yeah.
So, and then of course, that started me on a trajectory to where like, okay, I can get paid for this. But am I really worth being paid? So, I feel like when we're early on in our careers or just hobbyists, whatever the case may be, the imposter syndrome is so much more stronger then. Now that I've been into this for a few years, oh my gosh, it's been like 2 decades. Oh my God. It's crazy. Now that I'm more into this, I don't feel like I experience imposter syndrome so much anymore. I feel like if I get a job, I know how to do the job. It's a job that I want to do. If it's a job I don't want to do, I'll just say no, and I might recommend another photographer friend who is better suited for that particular type of work or whatever the case may be, and then I'll just move on. But so I try to limit what I do and how I do it to prevent, I guess, I don't want to say prevent imposter syndrome. I guess just prevent doing something that I don't want to do. But I don't feel like I have so much more, I don't have so much imposter syndrome these days as I did as a newer photographer. And I feel like that comes with just the experience. The knowing technical what you're doing. Like if I say yes to a shoot, I know what I need to do. I know what they need me to do. I know how to light it. I know what I'm going to charge, and so forth. So it takes away the fear of feeling like an imposter, like you're guessing at everything. Because I feel like that is what the imposter syndrome, at least for me, was. If I felt like I was guessing at everything when I was newer, I was guessing at my lighting. I was guessing at what I'm going to charge. I didn't know my cost of doing business. So I was guessing at everything.
You're like looking for proof.
Yeah, I'm like, and then I'm looking what other photographers who were a little bit more established than me at that time. What are they doing? What are they charging? What are they, and now I don't have to do that. So I'm now comfortable, and I feel comfortable. And what's the word I'm looking for?
Confident.
Yeah, I guess
Sure of yourself. Yeah.
confident, sure of myself. If I say yes to something, I know how to do it, and I can do it for the clients without making them nervous.
Yeah, it's interesting too because when I read a little bit about it, it said that imposter syndrome is often very closely linked to perfectionism. And I feel like maybe that's what it turns into later.
Yeah.
Kind of start in this imposter gray area, and then you kind of move on into perfectionism. Maybe those thoughts become more in that range instead of the fear in the beginning.
That's so interesting. I feel like I identify strongly with that. I have perfectionist tendencies and have since I was a child. So it's not just photography, but like the anxiety and then the perfectionism is definitely something I feel. I'm going to echo Dana and say that like as I've become more experienced and I've been through more, just more years of photography and also more like horror stories of photography were like, oh, we forgot a camera or like whatever it was. I mean, like whatever it is, we forgot, like just learning that you can recover and bounce back from like all the different problems, or like, hey, none of the lights are working today. So we just have to like figure it out. Like I've had that, I've had that happen on set. Like it was nothing, thank God that wasn't my fault. It was like the studio where we were shooting had like just like a technical problem where like, so that the whole team was like, well, we can't waste the day. We've got like model, hair, styling, photography, like all this stuff. So we're taking it out to the streets. Let's go out. We're shooting outside. And that was the day instead.
Yeah.
But I had a question actually, Dana, because when you were saying like you had it more when you were younger and just starting out, does that even count as imposter syndrome? Because I'm almost thinking you should feel freaking afraid when you're first starting out, because like you do not know everything. So like there should be some nerves there, right?
There should be nerves, for sure. I know some photographers, while they're in that early stage of, learning photography, learning their style and genre, and whatever the case may be, in technical, so forth. They don't take paid jobs. They just, do it as a hobby until then they feel like they're confident enough to start taking paid jobs. And I feel like those particular photographers who do it that way, they probably experience, at least a few that I've spoken to, they experience a little less imposter syndrome because they don't start working for other people until they feel more ready.
Yeah.
Versus people like me and other photographers like me who kind of delve in head first because someone approached them to say, hey, how much do you charge for this? And who's going to turn down money? I mean, I was like 23 and I was like, okay, hey, money.
Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
So I think if you do it that way, you're going to be, like you said, you're going to be new and you're going to have to experience trials and tribulations of cameras, lighting, etc. But I feel like you still can have imposter syndrome at that stage.
Yeah.
Especially if you're taking people's money.
Yeah.
And a lot of I see it online sometimes with like wedding photography and stuff like that. Some photographers will go on in Facebook groups and they're like, well, I took this wedding job, but I'm not sure what lens to use or what camera to use and how much did I charge? And I'm like, I never comment, but I read these particular and I see what other people
comment in my brain.
Yeah, I comment in my brain.
There's a lot of commenting in the brain.
Yeah.
That person should have more imposter syndrome.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
But I see that quite often, actually. New photographers taking jobs that they don't necessarily know how to do. And I feel like they're really struggling with the imposter syndrome because, but then in the same breath, you have more established photographers saying, say yes and figure it out later. Or say yes to the job and figure it out before you have to do the job. So take the job, get the money, but take time to practice so you get it right on that day. And sometimes that works for some photographers. And then other times they go back into the groups and say, oh, well, I royally screwed this up. So it's the whole thing of fake it till you make it type of thing.
Which isn't great for a wedding, to be fair.
No.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. I think if you could maybe you want to fake it till you make it a portrait shoot that you could reshoot. But somebody's wedding day, I'm like, ooh, that is rough.
Yeah. And maybe it's also kind of good to be honest in that situation and maybe give a little bit less of a price to have that kind of leeway. If you royally fuck it up, then at least there's an understanding there. They don't have like sky high expectations of you, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, they should have no expectations for you if that's the case. If you really haven't shot a wedding, I think that's so like scary to me for the bride and groom and their family.
Yeah, unless they're I would not want to be in that predicament.
But that's also an interesting thing you said about imposter syndrome, that like, okay, maybe you should have it sometimes. So maybe it could be like an other side of the coin where it could be helpful to maybe doubt yourself a little bit. Maybe it pushes you to try more things and to grow a little bit faster. I think there could be like because when I hear imposter syndrome, it sounds super negative, very negatively charged, but maybe it could help you in some ways.
I've always thought of it as something that like you shouldn't have because you're better than you think you are. But if we're talking about new, like super new green makeup artists or photographers, I'm like, yeah, be nervous because you are responsible for these people's photos and like they're paying you money. So, but I feel like if it's someone who's 10 years into it, knows what they're doing and still has that feeling of like, oh God, they're going to find out I'm a fraud. And it's like, it's more anxiety.
Different aspects to it as well, I guess.
That's where I think it's like, it's maybe not helpful for you because you are skilled, you do know what you're doing, but you're still feeling really nervous, like hyper judgmental of yourself. Like I know I experience that because I get little bouts of anxiety just in general in my life. Like I get anxious about everything. So like, why not also my job? Why not also the job?
Because first, when I read like imposter syndrome, I've always just thought it was that like, am I a fraud? And I've been like, no, I haven't really considered it that way. But then when I read about the cycle, I was like, like, oops, got me there. Because it said, if you over prepare or procrastinate, me every single time. I either leave it to the last second or I'm like over preparing and also like the sense of relief when I'm done. I have it every single job. Like, I every time before I touch a client's face, I'm like, can I do this? And then the second I start, I'm like, I can do it.
Is it like what if I've forgotten how to do makeup completely?
It's so it's I don't know where it comes down. It's super strange. But when I actually like read about it, I was like, okay, I do kind of I kind of understand the cycle, even if I am not every aspect of it, but I was definitely like, oh, I can relate to that actually more than I maybe thought in the beginning.
But I think nerves,
it's different.
the nerves are gonna even if you're a seasoned pro, I think even let's just go, I don't know, people like Annie Leibovitz or I can't think of a popular wedding photographer at the moment, but I think before any shoot, whether it's a large shoot, especially if it's a larger shoot or it's a high paying type of job, you're going to be nervous because generally you're directing a lot of people also. So you got the photographer. Usually the photographer is also the creative director, the director of everything, unless we're talking super, super large brands, commercial brands, to where they have someone else do that and the photographer is doing their thing and so forth. But in general, the photographer is like that person. So they have to be on top of everyone else and make sure everything gets done. So, so they're being pulled many different ways. And then, so I can understand that there's going to be a little bit of fear there, or nervousness, maybe not fear, nervousness, anxiousness before a shoot. And once that shoot is done, then you can,
the relief.
Good job, everybody, and and then
We made it another day.
So I think the nerves are always going to be there for the most part, but so that doesn't have to be wrapped into the imposter syndrome per se, I don't think.
And it can be a little good to have a little bit of nerves. I know, like, I used to do stand-up comedy in New York, and I listen to a lot of comedian interviews now. And people who've been doing this for over 20 years, they'll talk about how they still get nervous before every single performance, and they think it's actually a really bad sign if they don't.
Oh, so that's good for me then, because that's how I feel.
Because it means you care. Like it's another, like, sometimes a little bit of nerves mean I give a shit about this project. I want it to go well. I want to do well for you guys.
Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, because if you go into because I feel like if you're going to something like taking it out of the like photography, makeup artist or make taking it out of that, just like say if you're going to the store, and you don't want to go to the store that day, you're not going to be nervous. That might be a bad analogy.
Wait, are you nervous about the store or you're not nervous about the store?
Sometimes.
They're going to know I don't know what. Oh, sorry.
Me having imposter syndrome at the store.
Like, do I want this or no? But no, if you, if you want to do something, even you're going to be a little nervous about it. I think if you have no feelings whatsoever about it, it's like, then maybe that's not where your heart is or your passion is, or if that's something you just want to do at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good point of like, if you've got nothing going on, that means you probably are just like, yeah, fuck this. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, right?
Yeah.
If there's nothing.
And
That's burnout.
that is burnout.
Yeah.
A lot of creatives experience that. Have you guys ever experienced burnout?
Ask me tomorrow morning. I've been close to it, but thankfully, not yet.
Not yet. Siobhan, is there a time when you have just said, I need to take a break from photography? Like,
No, never. I feel like that's such an interesting question. I've never thought about it.
Yeah.
I've been burnt out in other areas of my life before, for sure. And I've never had it for photography. I think because I love it so much. And I feel like I've gotten a little burned out on certain projects where it's like a certain project that I'm just like, okay, could this please be over?
Yeah.
Like I've just retouched my 500th hat, and I need to. If I see a hat, I'm gonna have a panic attack because it's too many hats at this point.
Dream of hats. You're having nightmares about hats.
So like I could be like sort of over a project or something like that, but
not photography as a whole.
but not photography as a whole. Never. No, I haven't. How about you?
No. Yeah, I love photography. I mean, and we have photographer friends, of course, and I have had photographer friends who have experienced burnout to where they needed to step back for a little while, a month, maybe a year, and just recollect their thoughts on it. If this is where they envision. And for some people, it's usually, I find it's two or three things why this happens to photographers. They're shooting a lot, like they're high volume.
Yes.
So, and of course, with high volume comes more money, but it's because you're charging less than you would. So some photographers, some photographers, there's two different photographer branches are ways that they do business. There's either high volume, low money amount, and then there's low volume, high dollar. And I find, so I would say I don't know what I am at the moment. I'm not high volume because I don't shoot a lot. So I guess I would be the other one. But so I find this.
You only gave me two.
I only gave you two. Yeah. There's someone in the middle who just does middle stuff now.
Yeah, that's the way middle.
Yeah. So I find that photographers who get burnt out is generally they're doing high volume. So they have like, I don't know, like 1 to 2 shoots every day. So they're doing like 7 to 20 shoots in a week.
That's a lot.
Yeah. And then,
that's great.
Yeah. And then they're also generally they do their own retouching, to save on that. And then they're doing this nonstop. But of course they're making a lot of money because they're doing so many shoots and they're a bit lower cost. So there's this thing with photographers is there seems to be a little rift there between those two type of different photographers. To where the low volume, high dollar versus the opposite side.
The girls are fighting.
They fight sometimes. They're like, well, you don't have to take this many people. You can raise your price and do what I do. They go back and forth with that with each other.
Yeah.
That being said, though, both can still make the same amount of money.
Yeah.
However, I find the ones who do high dollar, low volume, they don't burn out as much because they're only taking maybe 4 to 10 clients in an entire month, not in a week.
Yeah.
So they have a little bit more time to decompress. And what they also do is normally they have a retoucher who does the retouching on the back end for them. So they're protecting their time. They're using it wisely. They're marketing a little bit more. So instead of doing so many shoots, they're trying to reach those particular clients that are going to pay them the high dollar that they charge.
Yeah.
so they can, focus on what they're best at. And so that's gonna make them not feel so overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And then so that's gonna not create the burnout that's happening. And all the other reason I see burnout also happening is gosh. Totally.
Thanking.
That was a lie. She has no other reason.
I can't remember what I was gonna say. I totally I'm blanked.
Should we
remember?
move past it?
If it comes to you, just tell us.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well. Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, it's kind of interesting that you mentioned burnout and like working in different types of ways and with different types of clients, because that kind of leads us into our next topic, which is the different type of genres you can work in and kind of pros and cons about these different type of genres, like commercial or editorial or fashion. What do we love about it? And do we veer away from some of these genres?
Yes.
Yes. A strong yes coming from this corner. Tell us everything.
Yeah. So I'm like Siobhan. I don't think I know I don't shoot all genres. So when I started photography, and I'm going to say like most photographers, we kind of dip our foot in a bunch of different things to figure out what we like and what's going to stick. So when I first started, I was doing portraits, like all types of portraits, like kids, babies, newborns, families, dogs. I was doing everything. I even shot a few weddings. I never do sports. I did a few events like baby showers. I got hired, for a few baby showers and like parties and so forth. So I tried to dip my foot in it. I even shot a runway once. That was horrible.
That was horrible. Yeah.
So I tried to dip my toe in a few
You were in
different
the
things.
pig pen.
Yeah, in the pig pen,
Damn.
basically.
Okay.
And then as I went on, I started finding what made sense to me, what stuck, and so forth. So what I really enjoyed photographing, which was beauty, fashion, editorial type things. I enjoy product photography. I'm dabbling a little bit in food, but photography, but right now that's still kind of hobby thing. I'm not taking any job for that until I get a little better. And then I also do portrait maternity because I really love showcasing pregnant women in their beautiful form as a pregnant woman. I think that's a beautiful time in a woman's life. And I like to capture that. That makes sense for them, of course, of what they're looking for, and a little bit throw them in some of my dresses in the back. So,
I want to do a plug for Dana. If you are pregnant or just want portraiture in the Oslo area, she's got the most insane, gorgeous dresses. There's only a few behind her, but she's literally got like a floor of them, and they're so beautiful.
I love the dresses. They're so pretty. Yeah. So those are the ones that I focus on right now. Siobhan, what about you?
So I noticed the pattern in what you were saying because I have the same thing. You like to be in full control of the shoot.
Yes.
Every single thing Dana listed is where the photographer and or their team are fully in control of every element. And the things that you hate, I also hate. And I'm wondering if it's the same thing as you don't have control over a lot of the elements. So if you're photographing a sports game, or a wedding or the runway, you have no control over the lighting or what's happening. And I will join you 100% like in wanting to be like in charge of like every single element that's happening, so you like can craft the most beautiful image possible because you've got everything at your fingertips. So like, okay, we got to change this light, make this more colorful, do whatever. So I join you there. So I join you in thinking like the commercial, fashion, editorial, food, like anything in the studio is like really where I'm going to have a lot of fun and shine and love it. And if I can avoid it, I will try to say no to events, refer them to another photographer. Unless it's someone I like love dearly, I now say no to weddings for the most part, unless there's something special about it. Or like I shot my friend's gay wedding in Provincetown and it was the best. It was like, I'm like, of course I'll do a gay wedding. Of course I'll do gay weddings. But like, yeah.
Don't come to me if you're not having a gay wedding.
Yeah. Yes.
Do not come to my town.
I'm like, that's fine. But yeah. I think that those ones just aren't as exciting in the sense that like we don't have full control over everything.
Yeah. I hear that.
Yeah, I think and the first wedding I did was I actually second shot. So I wasn't like the main photographer. And I think if you're gonna do weddings, or start wanting to do weddings, definitely second shoot with another wedding photographer first before you just jump head first and do your own, because I learned so much just second shooting, and there was no way I would have been comfortable or felt comfortable at all if I was like that main photographer, because and I'm still friends with that bride today. I went on to photograph her engagement session and her I went on to.
She got engaged again after?
She has a new thing.
How many husbands does she have?
I photographed
She had a gay
engagement section first, but I wasn't comfortable with weddings, so she chose another photographer for the actual wedding. And then I asked if I could second shoot, because at that point I was a bit, I was wanting to see if weddings was something I wanted to do. So I second shot their main wedding for their main wedding photographer. And actually from that wedding I got my second wedding booking, which was a guest at that wedding.
Classic.
And that's normally how it happens, because at a wedding someone else is engaged, and
I'm wondering about that, about wedding photographers. How long are they usually at the wedding?
All day.
Yeah.
All day. Long day.
How many hours?
So it depends on the wedding, because and then what they want to do. So like some couples, they want the photographer there all day. So meaning pre-wedding, like the makeup going on all the way into the reception. Versus some photographers have like wedding a la carte packages, to where they're like, if you just want them to be there for like the ceremony,
right,
and not the reception, or if you want them to be there just for the reception and not the ceremony. Because what also happens is some couples, they might like one photographer's like ceremony pictures, but they like another photographer's reception images, you know?
Yeah.
So they'll actually have like two different photographers,
wow.
they'll hire one to do the ceremony.
That makes sense to me.
Because one might have a cool party style that they do for like the actual reception part, because that's where everyone starts drinking and letting loose and having a little bit more fun, versus the ceremony where everyone's still very formal. No one's drunk yet.
Hopefully.
Exactly. Yeah.
One uncle will be. We know this for sure. Yeah.
So
let them in.
Yeah. So it's a little bit more different. It can be almost like two different vibes from the ceremony to the reception. So it just depends on what that couple has in mind. For the most part, most people use the same photographer for the whole thing. It's just easier. If you like their style doing this, you're gonna like it doing this. So anywhere from like 2 hours up until 16 hours. And if you're getting into weddings that are like, one of my husband's good friends is from Pakistan. And so if you get into like the African and the Middle Eastern and the Asian weddings, you're talking like they do like 3-day events, or 3 days of events. So those photographers are hired and booked for like 3 to 5 days, depending on how much is going on. And that's like a really good paycheck.
Wow.
But you have to be pretty much on, those entire times for all of the festivities throughout the entire week. So it just depends on the guest. It's good for photographers to discuss with the guest, the couple, about what they need from them, what they want, and how long they need them to be there, and then that will determine their price, of course. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
But you said you had a horror story.
Oh yes.
I'm getting my dreams.
Okay, so let me do this. Okay, so I told you about the wedding that I first did. The
The one you were second shooter at.
yeah.
Yeah.
So the couple who booked me from there, this is where the horror story happens.
Oh no.
And the first bride, like I said, I'm still friends with her. So, and she was so sweet. But we'll get into that. Okay, so they
Does she know about this?
Oh yeah, she knows. So they booked me. I did their wedding, and so everything went fine with the wedding. Yeah, everything went fine with the wedding. They had it they had the ceremony or the reception at the baseball field this was back when I was in Dallas.
Yeah.
It was pretty venue, pretty reception hall, etc. So mistake I made because I was new. I did not get my full payment up front.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So that's my mistake. If you want to do wedding photography, photographers get everything before you show up to the venue. And I know that now, but I didn't know that then. So I didn't get all of my money. So what I did was I debited the payments up into threes. So and I was first off, I was only charging $700. But this was back in like 2020, I don't know, 2026, 2027. So this was a very long time ago. No, not 20.
Wait,
sorry.
2026, 27. I'm like, so it'll be coming up soon.
I'm making it up right now.
I'm just making it up.
Dana, for those of you who don't know, Dana's AI.
She's manifesting, you guys. She's manifesting a horrible horror story.
No, it was back in This was back in 2007.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. I think it was around that time.
Yeah.
So I divvied it up into 3 different payments. So when they booked me, they paid the first payment. When I showed up to like the day before the wedding, they did the second payment, and the last payment was supposed to be when they picked up their images, picked up their CD.
And so far, this doesn't sound crazy to me. Like if someone told me that now, I'd be like, yeah, that's probably okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then we met up at the mall because I didn't have a studio at that time, and I didn't want to go to their home. So we met up at the local mall in the food court area. And they came in all over the, everything was great. And then I said, okay, so it's time to make the final payment. And the husband said he needed to run to the ATM to get the final payment. And I was like, okay, that's cool. So she took the folder with the images, and he said he'll be right back. I didn't think anything was going to happen because everything has been great, you know? And I'm sitting there. And I was like, okay.
Barbecue sauce on my titties.
Did you just say barbecue sauce on your titties?
Yeah.
Is that an expression I don't know about?
Yes.
Okay. Is this a Texan expression?
So I was sitting there for like 10 minutes, and I didn't think anything of it. 5 minutes I hadn't rolled around. I was like, okay, I was still sitting there. 10 minutes. I was like, okay.
No.
15 minutes. And I text because, this was his old Nokia phones, back then. The old Nokia phones.
Takes you 20 minutes.
One of the smartphones back then.
You're pressing 3 like 900 times.
I was like, hey, I'm still here. Are you guys, did you find an ATM okay? Didn't hear anything. And I tried to call him. No answer. And so then I was like, okay. So I just left. I didn't know what to do. And so then I tried to call him again later that night and still no answer. And then I was like, okay, well, this sucks. So I just kind of chalked it up. At that point, I was like, okay, I'm not sure what to do with this. So it took me 3 days. And then I contacted my friend who
knew that
was at their wedding, of course. I was like, hey, such and such, have you heard from such and such? And she was like, no, I haven't. Why? What's up? I was like, well, we met, I told her, I was like, well, because I didn't want to bash her. They are friends.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, we met at the mall and they took the images, but they didn't come back to pay me. And she was like, what? And she was very surprised. So she was like, well, I'll probably give her a call and see what's going on there. So anyways, long story short, I never got payment from them. But my friend felt so bad that she paid their remaining balance.
Oh,
Yeah.
What a sweetheart.
Yeah, she was sweet. And like I said, we're still friends and we still talk all the time online. So, she
Shout out to
rectified that problem. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was horrible. And that made me realize that, okay, I have to get payment all up front from now on. And of course, as we learn through trials and tribulations of things we have to do differently.
yeah.
But then it also soured weddings for me.
I get
So
that.
I was like, no. First off, they're very labor intensive.
Very labor intensive.
And there's a lot of moving parts and pieces when you're shooting.
And a lot of
weddings.
pressure.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure. And and I was just like, okay, well, I can't do it. But I did have one more second shoot that I had one more schedule that I was second shooting for another photographer, so I had to finish that one.
Yeah.
But after that, I decided that weddings weren't for me. And if I was ever going to do a wedding again, it was either going to be like Siobhan said, like for maybe someone that's a very close friend.
Yeah.
Very gay.
Very gay.
Very gay. Or something like that. So that was just like, nope, can't do it.
Yeah.
I get that. That brings a sour taste to your mouth, like kind of ruins the experience.
Yeah.
Which is like, it's a good little tale for clients out there that like what you do can really kind of affect the whole person's business.
Yeah.
Me personally, I do enjoy commercial. I'm a makeup artist. I forgot to say that, but people who are listening probably already know that.
Mm-hmm.
So I really focus mainly on commercial stuff and editorial stuff, beauty, and then I pop in an occasional wedding. I really try to limit my brides, mostly because it takes a lot of planning.
Yeah.
And for me and my schedule, it's kind of hard to plan things like a year in advance. Because makeup jobs especially kind of come at you hard and fast.
That's what she said.
Well, we have another retouching myself situation. But yeah, so it can be very hard to plan. It's also very high pressure compared to financially what you're getting out of it. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, most of your clients are not businesses. They're actually just regular people. So for them, the prices are kind of higher than what businesses expect to pay usually. Yeah. So that's why I really try to limit my brides kind of a lot. But other than that, I think doing the makeup is fun. I think the days are, it's also a lot of traveling, which can be tough as well to plan. Other than that, commercial for me is probably the easiest to do. And then beauty, I think it's very fun to do. Beauty and the editorial stuff. It's very creative. So I like to have a little mix just to not lose the creative spark, I guess.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I feel like that's where I'm at my happiest, like when I'm doing beauty and fashion type stuff. Because all the ones I do, I'm happy, but those ones for sure, I can really let the creativity out. Even if there is a client or if it's just a creative day, either way. Yeah. It's just a fun time with those particular type of shoots. And maternity also. Like I said, I really love doing maternity also. I love when I'm showing the images to the mama-to-be and she's all like,
Oh, that's very sweet.
I'm like, that's you, goddess,
Yeah.
Because,
It's like reaffirming.
it's like, So weddings, I've never done like I've never had an interest to do sports before, like sports photography.
Yeah. I like doing sports portraiture when it's like when you can get really creative. Like, so I've done a few things only just because my stepdaughters are both athletes.
Okay.
So I've done some really creative work for their for them, and that was really fun. Like, because I treated it like a fashion shoot, and so in that sense it was fun.
What sports did they do?
For one of them it was bandy, and the other one it was a football portrait. But they both actually just play football now.
Yeah.
But if it's like an event, like I feel like that's like, again, you're just like, I don't know, I can't control this. I don't really care. Also, I don't care about sports.
No.
Yeah, I feel like I'm 90%. I don't ever advertise it, but I'll do it for the right client. Like if it's someone I really love, or I love their company or like what they stand for, like I can get like jazzed up about it. But if it's just like, I don't want to like advertise like any kind of event, because I think like for me also there's something about photographing strangers that didn't really sign up to be photographed that makes me specifically uncomfortable, because it's like, are you okay with the fact that I'm taking your photo? Whereas in the studio, the model like knows she's going to be photographed. Whereas like when you're out in the public, and I think sometimes people get really like weirded out by having their photo taken, or they get awkward or anxious, or they really hate seeing pictures of themselves, whatever the reason, like all valid. I feel like I'm invading their personal space or something like that. And so I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, it's not like people go up to you and are like, I want a selfie. Like,
no, not at corporate events usually. Yeah. But yeah, for the right people, like it can make sense sometimes, but like in general, that's not. Yeah.
That's kind of how I feel a little bit when you said invading people's privacy a bit. That's kind of how I feel like with street photography.
Yeah.
Like I know a few street photographers and they do beautiful work.
Yeah.
And I love to see it, but it's like for me, I can't wrap my head around doing that. Just like taking pictures of people, random people on the streets. Yeah.
You know, when I see that, I always think that it's staged.
Yeah. Or usually it isn't. Usually they're just taking their picture out and they're just photographing people, you know, as they are, just as they are in their everyday. I think it's beautiful in a way, don't get me wrong. It's just that it's not for me personally to do, just because of, like I'm thinking like, okay, well, what if this person doesn't want to be on camera? Yeah, no.
But couldn't they just say no?
No, because they don't know they're necessarily being photographed.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I think we're talking about two different things.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm talking about like a TikTok where a person meets a person and they're like, oh, can I take your photo?
Oh,
you
no, like
take the photo first and then they tell them.
No, they never tell them. They don't have to tell them.
Street photography is just like if I just go downtown, like this on Carl Johan, and take my my camera,
so now,
and just
then
take
I
pictures of
understand.
people.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah. So it's like some of it's really pretty, or like you see those pictures, or where they're like
Somebody's on the tram.
they're just on a tram, or you know. They're sitting. Yeah, just some of it's very beautiful. It's just for me personally, I just feel like I'm invading the spaces
to me. Yeah,
you know.
Yeah,
me time.
It's like they're sitting here eating lunch. They might not want my Zoom camera is not in their face.
Yeah.
But you're far enough away to where they might not even know that you're taking the picture.
You're like Google Maps.
Yeah.
Like,
and exactly. And then even if if there's somewhere public where it's like legal to be taking photos outside, you can also sell those photos. And so I think that like, and I agree with you 100%, like some street photography, some of the most beautiful photography I've ever seen. Like and I have a lot of respect for people that shoot that way, but it also, something about it pains me. It's legal, it's fine. You can sell those photos as fine artwork, and they are fine artwork. But there is something that troubles me about being able to sell an image where if someone's recognizable on the street and they don't get any credit, any money, they might not even want to be in it. Like,
is it the same for like children?
Yeah.
Huh.
If you're anywhere in public.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's presumed that if you're in public, someone can take your picture and you can't necessarily, I would say, because you're in a
You
public
chose to
space.
be in public.
Now, if you're in McDonald's
Ooh.
and
I
your
would never
photographer comes in there, or you're like into some type of establishment that's
Yeah.
public, but it's still private property,
Right.
you can't necessarily walk in there and just start taking
Yeah.
pictures of people.
Mhm.
That's a bit different.
Yeah.
If they're like on the streets,
Yeah.
that's presumed to be a public space.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's presumed if you're there, you're comfortable with what might happen to you. I mean, as far as like,
Yeah. Yeah. Anything that happens to you, you should be comfortable with.
Everything that happens to you, I'm selling. I'm getting it, I'm selling it.
so, but yeah, because I mean, I see street photography of like, of children, like, not in any compromising positions or anything, but just children walking hand in hand with the parents or walking together, not necessarily young, but like teenagers or young, like 11, 12-year-olds in street photography. Now it's pretty. I mean, like I said, I do like some street photography, but then me thinking as a parent or a mom, if that was my 8-year-old and some street photographer's image and he or she is parading this on social media and then I happen to look at it and hey, that's my kid. I didn't know.
Yeah.
It's like
There's something that doesn't sit with you. Like, yeah.
so it's interesting. So, but yeah, that's a genre, and I would say that's a con.
Yeah.
Pro and con, not con man like that, but I feel like ever pro and con, that would be a con of street photography for me, and probably why I don't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can give you another easy con for street photography. There's almost no money in it. So it's like mostly personal projects. I would say like you could get lucky and get a really great shot that you could sell as fine art. But yeah, that would be another one. And I just wanted to note this because we're in Norway and I know what we were talking about regarding like being able to sell these, that's definitely the US law. But I'm just thinking there might be more privacy laws in other countries.
Yeah.
I think here, like what I just mentioned, if you happen to stumble upon an image of yourself, I think here in Norway, you can request that the photographer take that image down because you do have rights to your image. So I think it's a bit more stricter here in Norway with that than, say, in America.
Yeah.
In America, it's like the Wild Wild West. You can do pretty much
Yeah, as long as it's not being used commercially, it's basically fine. Yeah, usually, typically,
Well, maybe that's great about pros and cons and the different genres. I think you guys summed it up really nicely. I think for the people watching, it would be really fun to see some comments, see maybe if you have any additional pros and cons about working in these different genres or industries. And I think maybe we could, if you don't have anything else to add.
I feel like caveat at the end, there's so many industries of photography, like architecture, journalism, all this stuff that we didn't really cover here, but there's like a jillion genres of it.
Yeah, same with makeup. We could probably do like a whole episode of that.
I would just, for any newer photographers who are watching, if you're unsure of where you feel like your heart lies, definitely get out there and try a few different genres. To start. At least, because I did have, starting out, I did kind of know that I do like photographing people. So for the most part, I knew wherever I felt it was going to be in some way with people, not necessarily with like architecture or buildings or like, So I did have notion of where I wanted to go or where my heart was taking me, but I did need to try a few genres first before I found out. So don't be afraid to experiment with the genres and figure out what really makes you happy. Because I feel like what we spoke on earlier with burnout, that's going to help prevent you feeling burnt out. And even with like makeup, as if there's makeup artists listening, of course, experiment with different types of, jobs, makeup jobs, to see what you like and what you don't like.
And also, like, this is just for me personally right now, but life also kind of has seasons. So for me right now, I'm kind of pivoting to taking more higher paying jobs and saving up for an apartment, hopefully. So there's really like there's no shame in doing that also as well. Like, so you can like experiment. You can always go back to that when you feel like you are kind of running low in the creative department. If you want like a boost of that real, like you said, like a love for it, you want to get that back. And I say always go back to like your core love for it, what makes you really happy while doing it. I think it's smart.
Yeah, even if it's unpaid, just like do what made you fall in love with it in the first place. Yeah, for sure.
I feel like, with that real quick, with the burnout, I feel like, and we touched on this in the last episode with only doing things because you're getting paid. I feel like that helps a little bit with people getting burned out and losing love because they're only taking out their camera or maybe their makeup when it's a paying job versus just getting into that studio or getting into your place and just having fun with some makeup or having fun on a shoot. Just rekindling that love and you once had for this particular for genres or photography or makeup that you feel that is we're wandering away just because you're so focused on the money side of it and the creative side has went away somewhere.
It all depends also kind of on your life situation, of course. So it's like I totally see both sides of it in that way, especially now. So you were talking, you reminded me, since you mentioned collabs, that in our Q&A section that we're going to try to have at the end of each podcast going forward, somebody mentioned collabs, since that was a big topic last time. And they asked, when is it beneficial to have a collab? Shoot.
Right. I think there's a few different reasons. Number one is portfolio building and showcasing your talent and what you can do and what your vision is. And I think that these are important to do somewhat regularly. It doesn't have to be like once a month or anything like that, but I think it's good. And this is sort of leading into my second reason to do it, is to like keep the love of the game there. Because a lot of times the commercial clients might have like safer images that they need for their company, but like your stuff might be a little bolder, a little more wild and creative. So it's like a way to like keep that spark and love and joy alive and there and like practice new skills. And just really show the world what you can do.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely content building, as well as if it's an opportunity that you feel like you can't pass up. So maybe there was one that I did a while back. It was for a smaller brand, but it was a brand that I was interested in, or they had products that I was interested in. So I was okay with doing this collab with them because one, I wanted to add that particular type of product into my work. And I thought it would be a good to start a relationship with them. Now, I don't recommend if they're approaching you in a way where, this is going to be good for exposure and so forth, that exposure never works. So it never trust if they tell you this is going to be good exposure for you. As a photographer, or makeup artist, collabing in this particular type of way, it has to be beneficial for you. It has to be something that you feel is going to be worth your time, in a way, either in your portfolio or building a relationship with that particular type of brand. So that's what my answer is to show. Yeah, it's beneficial for you in some way, either in your port, working with that particular brand or so forth. But if it's a large brand, meaning they probably have money to pay you, take that with take each opportunity as it is. They're not all going to be the same. So just
I think I totally agree with you, but also feel like if it's anything where it's a brand, you have to be very careful because oftentimes they really should be paying.
They should.
Yeah. So if there's I think those are special circumstances. Right. Where you're very experienced, you kind of know. But if you're not very experienced and a brand reaches out to you and wants to do a collab and you're getting exposure, I would be really hesitant and just maybe talk to more experienced photographers before you say yes to it, because you might be agreeing to something that is going to be harmful, actually harmful for you. Yeah.
Exactly. Something that, you should be getting paid for. So if you're unsure and you're new, maybe speak to a photographer like Siobhan said, that's a little bit more experienced than you, more years under their belt, just to get a second opinion. It's okay to get a second and third opinion if you're unsure on what you should do. Yeah.
100%. It's a solo industry in a way. We're all solo freelancers, but there's community, you can join communities. You can write into the podcast. We'd be happy to answer questions. Yeah. But you can find community and find people who will be happy to speak with you, I think, about that. So you don't have to feel like this is only on me and only I can make this call.
Yeah. I think for me, it's very beneficial when I kind of have free reign to bring ideas up, because as a makeup artist, you're very often very tied to everybody else's concepts.
Yeah.
So especially if there's something specific I want to do in terms of marketing, let's say I want to pivot to a certain client, but I need some different content to appeal to that client. That is one time when it's very beneficial to me. Or like you said, when special opportunities arise, let's say there's a particular model we'll be looking for and she's in here for 3 days. Yes, then I'll do it. So it all kind of depends on where your head is at and where you're going with it. But I totally agree with all the other points as well. I think that's great answers to the question. We had another question. We kind of went into it a little bit in the beginning, but somebody asked what would we have done professionally. So I think maybe we can just add something to that if you feel like you missed out on anything about your history. Myself, I worked at MAC for 7 years as a retail manager. And then in the middle of the pandemic, I went completely freelance. I had been doing freelance work, but it was very difficult working in a retail store because all the hours where people want to help or have shoots, you're very busy.
Right.
It's typical 10 to 6 working days. So when I switched jobs, I had way more opportunity to kind of set those dates up, and I have a more flexible schedule now where that lends itself, where I can obviously still, it can be tough, don't get me wrong. But I've worked in a lot of industries: runway, commercial, bridal, film and TV. A lot of different stuff, a lot of also personal clients, and brands, of course. But yeah, that's a little bit about my story. I'm trying to make more content now. I've been
content queen.
So if you guys have any tips or requests, I would love to hear it. I started doing it last year. I've been really, before that, just using Instagram as kind of a moving portfolio. But now I'm really pivoting more into content lately. So I'm still new at that, still learning, still improving. But yeah.
I always have a million questions for you. How do I do a ponytail? So you can always ask me.
How do I do a non-Victorian ponytail?
Yeah. Everyone listening, I'm really pushing to have every episode to have me be able to ask you a question about how I do my own makeup or hair, because I'm 43 and I'm still learning.
For sure that. And I'll answer any question if you guys have any questions. So do you guys have anything supplementary about what you've done before? You kind of went into it in the beginning. Started with portraits and family portraits.
Yeah, portraits, family portraits. Now I just, like I said, I do the maternity now, and then I also do beauty and product. So I've worked with a few brands within those genres. I still work with brands, and I also work, of course, with a lot of the different photography brands, uh, camera and lighting brands. And I do like content and so forth for them. Do sponsorships and brand deals and so forth like that, which has been very fun to do and get those opportunities. We will discuss a little bit more about that in a future episode. And so that's what I've been doing, and I've been enjoying every minute of it. So
Lovely.
Yeah. And then just quickly, my experience with photography in the United States, I would say I was like 80% fashion and apparel. So working with a lot of different clothing companies and then also some product companies. And then moving to Norway has really sort of forced me to like open up a bit, because like the industries aren't as niched down. There aren't like a billion fashion companies in Oslo. There's like 10, I don't know, but it's not that many. So, but what was cool is that I started working more with musicians. So that was really fun, because I feel like the music industry allows you to be just as creative, if not more creative than the fashion industry, because you can really create a universe with them, and they love it. So some music. Then also my roots were portraiture, as were yours, I think, Dana. So like I still love working with people like on their branding, portraiture. Like I still like taking pictures of cute little kids, like, running around in a garden or playing or on the trampoline. Like I still like that kind of portraiture as well. I think what I like about doing portraiture now as like a seasoned fashion photographer is that I allow myself to get really creative with it and be really free and loose with it, versus when I first started, it's like, for those of you who are just listening, I'm like doing a cheesy pose. So it's like moving away from like cheesy poses to like authenticity and like just life and like, I don't know.
Lifestyle.
Yeah, make it feel like an Abercrombie campaign or something like that, but not like sexualized, obviously. It's just kids. Sorry, I need to like never speak. But just make it feel fun and fresh and like, let's run across the yard. Let's go pick some flowers. Like, that kind of thing. So that actually I can still get really excited about portraiture in that sense. And then, I'm still loving fashion and beauty when I get the opportunities to do those here. And then it's finally public, so now I can announce it. I just had like a big campaign with the Boston Ballet. Oh, cool. And so we just shot like their campaign for the year, and that was working with all the ballerinas, but it was in a fashion mode. So I'm really excited to begin to share those images. Yeah.
Interesting. So look out for that, guys. Yeah. That's awesome. That's a great wrap up. And with that, I think we're going to wrap this episode up. Yeah. So thank you to everybody for watching. We hope you love this episode. And please comment, like, subscribe, and follow us on Spotify, YouTube, and Instagram. That's us. Thank you.
See you guys.
See ya.